We wish Molly well. She was not feeling well this morning, and so take some rest, drink some chicken broth. Everything's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a sleepy kind of day anyway in Ohio, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good plan.
Well, we've got a very special guest with us today, and hopefully she's here on the phone with us right now. Amber, are you there?
Yeah. How's it going?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Amber James. She is the author of I Blew Up My Life and I've Never Been Happier, a brand new book, hot off the presses. And I'll also let our listeners know, one of my longest, dearest friends, I think since like 6th grade. Good morning. We're so happy to have you on with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, it's been since 6th grade. Can you believe that? It feels like just yesterday.
No, I cannot. I cannot believe it at all. We are so happy to have you on the show with us this morning. I'm so glad that Hannah gets to be part of the show this morning. So it's just going to be a beautiful day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to start the way that we always start, which is talking a little bit about books. So, Amber, no, actually, we're going to start with Hannah.
Ooh.
Hannah, what have you been reading lately? You're so well read.
I'm currently in between books. This is very rare that this happens. But I'll talk about something I read at the beginning of this month. No, what is today? Today is the 11th, so it's telling me that I read it today, but that's not true. I read it in July.
Lies.
I see it now. End of June, beginning of July. But it was actually published on Tuesday. It is called Tom Lake by Ann Patchett.
Okay.
You may know her from books like Bel Canto, Commonwealth, or the one that was really popular a couple years ago was The Dutch House.
I was like, something about a house.
Yes.
It wasn't the Round House, because that was Louise
Erdrich.
Penny. Oh, Erdrich, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But this
the
is
Dutch House.
The Dutch House. And, it had a really beautiful cover of a portrait of a young girl staring at, and that book was famously, the audiobook was read by Tom Hanks, and that's really where it took off because the book is told through the character Danny's perspective, and Tom was just the perfect Danny. But this one I got as a from NetGalley, an ARC, an advanced reader's copy, called Tom Lake, and it is set in 2020 with the full intention of what 2020 was.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
But it takes place on a cherry farm in northern Michigan. And I don't know a lot about Michigan. That's just not one of those places my family ever vacationed. Not for sports rivalries, just because we had other places we went. But apparently, northern Michigan is gorgeous. And so this takes place in the summer of 2020. And a woman in her late 50s, maybe, and her husband who run this cherry farm, and their 3 girls are all home now from college and their pursuits because of the pandemic. There's Emily, who is planning on taking over the cherry farm. She's graduated from Michigan State to do with agriculture and botany and all these sort of things. And she's engaged to a boy next door.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to combine their farms. And then the middle one is, the names are going to escape me. Nell. No. Can't remember now. I'm so sorry about that. The middle one,
I never remember
the middle
names.
one is a vet, is in veterinary school. And so that's helpful on the farm, of course. And then the youngest one, Nell, wants to be an actress. And that's key because her mother was once an actress. And so while they're doing the cherry harvest, their mother, Laura, tells the story of her acting career to her daughters. And so it's told in flashbacks between her telling the story of the summer of 1988, where she was at like a summer stock theater. They have those in the acting world where you go. So it's a summer stock theater in northern Michigan on Tom Lake. And during this summer, she falls in love and has a romance with a young actor who becomes a movie star. So think like in 2020, he's 60. And so I'm trying to think of who it would be. Someone and he had a career in like children's movies and then becomes like an action star.
Ooh.
And so he's very, very famous. And the oldest daughter is convinced that was her real father. And it's really about who, looking back on our youth. The pandemic just sets the backdrop for this chance for this woman and her daughters to sort of get together and learn about who your mother was as a young woman. Because you don't think of your mother as a young woman ever, and they were, and it's really beautiful. And there are surprise characters, and then you understand why all the girls are named what they are. You find out through the story, and And it's really, and the farm plays a role in 1988 as well as 2020. And it's just bucolic, and the settings are so beautiful. And Ann Patchett has a really great talent for making real people. She weaves the flaws into these characters without making them unlikable. And you care for all these people, even if you're not like totally obsessed with them. They're not archetypes, you know?
Yeah.
They're very real people.
They're real, exactly.
Yes. I actually, in my review, I think the last sentence of it is, Patchett is a goddess of literature. She's so good. It's just incredible. And so even though I read this book at the end of June, beginning of July, I am going to be listening when I get it through the library, the audiobook, because she has one-upped herself from Tom Hanks.
Oh, no. Who is it?
Meryl Streep.
Meryl.
And Meryl's going to do such a good job. Plus the acting background of the story, and that Meryl's just so great. And so there are literally like 415 people on the wait list right now.
Yeah.
But if you are an audiobook person, I think it's going to be worth the wait. The thing about Ann Patchett is she has a bookstore in Nashville, like a indie bookstore called Parnassus Books. And so, you know, if you ever go in there, she works the front desk, sort of how Judy Blume does with her one in Key Largo.
Oh, my gosh.
And so a couple years ago, Tom Hanks had a book out called Uncommon Type.
Yes.
And when he was
short stories.
Yes. And when he was promoting the book, he did a stop at Parnassus, and she asked him, just like had a great time with him. And when she had written Dutch House, she just emailed his agent, like, would he be interested in this? And he did, and that's how they got Meryl, because through the Tom Hanks connection.
Amazing.
So
it's all who you know.
But isn't it?
This is really the life lesson of the show. It's all who you know.
And if you're listening, I love you.
And we love you. Meryl, we love you. Tom, we love you. Everybody. It's just.
So yeah, I highly recommend. It's good for fans of intergenerational stories. It's fans of Hollywood stories. It's for fans of country settings.
Good writing.
Good, excellent, beautiful writing. If you like animals, there's lots of animal stories in there as well with the veterinarian.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's called Tom Lake. It's by Ann Patchett,
Yes.
and you can hop on the library and you can reserve it now, although you might have a little bit of a wait, but that's all right. It moves quickly.
It does move quickly.
And I bet while you're on the website, you can find other things to keep your time in the meantime. Well, that's awesome. Thank you, thank you, Hannah.
If you're on that hold list, you can always just go through Ann Patchett's backlist, because it's also incredible.
All of our other things. All right. Well, we always invite our guests to talk a little bit about what they're reading. And Amber, as an author and a writer, I'm sure you're very, very busy, but what kind of things have you been reading lately?
Yeah, so I actually just started reading Wolfpack by Abby Wambach. So for those who don't know, she's actually the U.S. Soccer Olympic gold medalist.
That's
and
right.
Also married to Glennon Doyle. Yeah. So her entire book is these 8 rules for women that they should live by. So it's essentially insisting that we need to let go of these like old rules that were really never meant to include women, and really embrace, like, as she says, like our inner wolf that has this courage and no fear, and to find our pack of women who can champion us and rally around us. So it's a really quick read, but it is so inspiring. And, you know, I've read this book several times, and every time I read it, I just, like, finish the book, and I am ready to just, like, take on the world and go change everything. So, but yeah, it's, like, a part of, like, some of her 8 rules. So the one that I am, like, obsessed with right now that's really speaking to me, it says, like, old rule, be grateful for what you have. But new rule, be grateful for what you have and demand what you deserve. And there's something so powerful about that, especially as women. We're always told to be grateful for everything. But it's awesome that you can actually have these 2 things living together, and they can both be truth. And this book is just so empowering, and it just makes me want to just take on the world. And I think that every woman should have this in their repertoire. You can also, if you want the audiobook, you can literally listen to it in 60 minutes while you're on the elliptical, working out in the morning, and you'll be ready to, like, take on your day.
That sounds really empowering.
Yeah.
Because it made me think of that Walt Whitman quote, I contain multitudes. I can be grateful for what I have and still have that hunger inside.
That's a very great description. It reminds me also a little bit of, there was a book I read earlier this year in my audiobook listening, and it was basically taking how to make friends and influence people. It was like a almost, you know, business book of the like 1950s, and a modern female comedian like rewrote it, and she like reestablished it into like what that means for today's terms. And kind of what she boiled it down to was like, yeah, some of these are still okay as a base, but like just don't take it too seriously.
So, Amber, now that you're reading this Abby Wambach book, did you read Untamed by Glennon Doyle, her wife?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I did. I read that as well. So, I think that is such an inspiring book, too, because I think we all, as women, sometimes need to just come into our power and just unleash, like, the awesome, like, lioness that's in us, the wolf, and to just really lean into that. I think we all have the power inside of us, and sometimes it's like that fear, but I think for myself also as a writer, it's these incredible books by women and letting our voices be heard that we can empower other women with our stories, and that is so important.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is going to lead just perfectly into my book for today, which is a tease for the second half of the show. And my book today is I Blew Up My Life and I've Never Been Happier by Amber James. Woo! Woo, woo. So, yeah, I'm just going to give a quick little tease to our listeners, and then we'll go to a commercial break, and then we'll be back with Amber to talk more about her book. But, yeah, the basic story is that Amber, she had it all as far as what society says it all, quote unquote, is. She was living in New York City. She was doing the, super job, the perfect job. She had the fiance. She had the nice apartment. She had the, just everything like going for her. She was working out, feeling good. Everything was wonderful. And then over the course of about 2 years, she ditches the fiance, leaves New York City, quits the job, and finds herself in the hospital a couple of times. And then now she's landed in Pittsburgh. And so what I found in Amber's book is a whole lot of listening, like listening to yourself. Like maybe there was the red flag, but how many times do we ignore those red flags that, just maybe we get that gut feeling, maybe we see that red flag, but then we ignore it, we push it down. Or, somebody brings it up to us and we're like, how dare you for, stepping into my business? Don't tell me what I should be doing. And, and then we're like, we shove them aside, rude, and so I think what I read and I heard a lot in this book was, how to open yourself up to listen to those gut feelings, to feel those gut feelings, see those red flags, and find yourself happier and on the other side. So that is your tease of I Blew Up My Life and I've Never Been Happier. And we have Amber James, the author, with us this morning. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then on the other half, we'll talk with Amber. So stay tuned.
For the best meat eats for your summer meet and greets, barbecues, parties, and picnics, you can count on Mosier's Market. Serving Mid-Ohio with high-quality meats, low prices, and friendly service for over 45 years. Mosier's offers custom cuts of your favorites: beef, pork, chicken, and fish. Plus, they curate their own delicious brats and sausage. Mosier's has 40 varieties of deli meats and 25 savory cheeses. Check for the weekly specials online at MosiersIGA.com. Mosier's Market, Raymond.
J&J Ohio Trading Post, Central Ohio's newest firearm retailer, located in Richwood, Ohio. We are proudly stocking firearms, ammunition, suppressors, safes, and accessories from all of your favorite manufacturers, including Glock, Smith & Wesson, Federal Ammunition, Liberty Safe, and many more. Also check out our large selection of items, from Black Rifle Coffee Company, Dr. Squatch, and One Size Fits All gift card. Have something to sell or trade? We do that too. Visit us at 27 North Franklin Street in Richwood, Ohio, or online at Ohio's Trading Post, or by calling 740-990-2715.
Have you lost Ohio Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you or any of your family members, neighbors, or friends own a property that you just want to be done with it? If so, call TurboTrack Realty today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. Would it be convenient for you to take what you wanted and leave the rest behind? Great, I'll buy it. Call 614-470-2000. That's 614-470-2000.
Tackling home projects? Pathways has home equity products designed to fit your needs. Find out more at pathwaycu.com. Pathways Financial Credit Union, your true financial partner. Member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 237769.
How many more washes does your washing machine have left? How many more hot showers will you enjoy from your water heater? How many warm nights will you get from your furnace? How long before any of your systems and appliances die? Leaving you with a huge bill homeowners insurance won't cover. Be sure your budget's protected with an American Home Shield home warranty. We help cover the cost to repair or replace major components of up to 21 home systems and appliances, no matter their age, even your air conditioner, electrical system, and plumbing. For a free quote on flexible plans to meet your needs and budget, call 1-800-936-3026. All home systems and appliances die. Be sure your budget's protected. Be sure with the Shield. American Home Shield. For a free quote, call 1-800-936-3026. 1-800-936-3026.
Limitations and exclusions apply. See plan for details.
Acupuncture, a safe, natural, and effective form of medicine that has been used for over 5,000 years. At Tranquility Acupuncture, they look at the whole body, treating not only the symptoms, but the root of the problem to heal the body naturally. Tranquility Acupuncture strives to help you feel symptom-free, energized, and improve your overall health and well-being. Call 937-561-0832 today to schedule your appointment. Tranquility Acupuncture, 232 North Main Street, Marysville. Here to help you improve your overall health and wellness the natural way.
At Wendell's Garage, we offer quality, competitively priced car repair, maintenance, and restoration of foreign and domestic autos, motorhomes, and more. We utilize state-of-the-art technology to deliver comprehensive car and motorhome care for your peace of mind by our ASE-certified mechanics to get the job done right. Call us today at 740-362-0818 to schedule your next service for your car or motorhome. 223 Curtis Street in Delaware. Wendell's Garage, your complete car care destination.
Long before handles, followers, and hashtags, there was an original social media that dominated life.
We always listened to the radio in the car.
Radio.
It wasn't wood paneled, but it was blue. It was a station wagon.
Long before Zuckerberg and algorithms, radio brought people, friends, and communities together.
Being kind of glued to the radio sometimes, especially when they were doing like remote events, it always seemed more interactive.
And it's still doing it today.
I still look to radio, especially when I'm in my car. I prefer to listen to a local station over satellite.
Radio, the original social media. My 96.7.
My 96.7.
85 degrees today. You're listening to Off the Shelf on My 96.7.
Welcome back to Off the Shelf. Thank you so much for listening. It's going to be, a cool Friday. Quick note, tomorrow we will have our bookmobile at the Delaware County EMS Touch-a-Truck event that is happening at Berlin High School. You will have Hannah there, and you will also see Jana, who has been my co-host many other times as well. So cross your fingers, cross your toes, all the good things. We're going to have the best weather ever.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful morning.
It's going to be a party.
Yes. So we can't wait to see you there tomorrow morning at the Touch-a-Truck at Berlin High School. We are back again, not Molly Myers-LeBady this morning, Hannah Simpson, and we have our guest on the phone with us today. Her name is Amber James, and she is the author of I Blew Up My Life, and I've Never Been Happier. Good morning, Amber.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Well, we are so happy to have you this morning. Again, for the listeners who are maybe just now tuning in, Amber is an author extraordinaire. She has written for many, many other things besides her own personal memoir. And she's one of my dearest, closest friends since middle school. So we're just so happy to have you on this morning.
Oh, well, I'm happy too. It's really good to connect with you, Nicole, especially after all these years. Who would have thought in sixth grade that I'd be publishing a book, you'd have your own show. This is awesome.
Life, man.
Taking over the world.
On local radio. Well, so start off, I gave a little tease about your book on the first half of the show, leading into the break. But go ahead and tell us, what inspired you to take all of your experiences and, put fingers to keys or pen to paper and to turn it into a novel?
Yeah. So for me, as you kind of described in my book, I went through a lot of big life changes. You know, in addition to the pandemic, I ended up in the hospital twice. I had to get my appendix and my gallbladder removed, all within 2 months.
Oh, my gosh.
I also lost my grandfather, so I was dealing with a lot of grief, too. I was journaling a lot during this time. But also during this time, I just yearned for stories from other women who had maybe gone through something similar, or, you know, I also had a job that was kind of not that fulfilling anymore, a relationship that started to turn toxic. And I was just like, has anyone else been through this? Is there any rainbow at the end of this? Should I be holding on? Should I be settling? And as I started to think about it, I realized, oh, I bet my story and what I'm going through can actually help other women who might be going through similar situations. So this is more a paying it forward and hoping that, you know, if my book can help just a few people, that means that my goal has been succeeded.
Absolutely. You talked about you found yourself in the hospital 2 times in 2 months. How in the heck does that happen, and what was that like?
Oh, my gosh. Well, it was wild because it was also during, you know, peak COVID in New York City.
Oh.
So you really didn't want to be in the hospital.
No.
But there was one afternoon, I actually thought I had food poisoning, and I thought that, so I called off work, and I just realized I had this, like, debilitating pain, and it got to the point that I had to just go to the hospital. I was like, I know I don't really want to do this, but I got to just make the trek and go to the hospital and figure out what's going on. And there, you know, I wasn't allowed to have, like, anybody with me in the hospital. I had to go by myself and figure all this out. And after hours of testing and all these MRIs, they realized I had appendicitis. So that was surgery 1. And it was really unexpected and also scary because I was all by myself and trying to just text or call people as I could in the hospital. But the crazy part is the surgeon who removed my appendix that night, I began to tell him about other digestive issues I had been having. Mm-hmm. And he said, I think you know, your gallbladder might be acting up, which is crazy because I spent over a decade trying to figure out why my body just, there are certain foods that did not fit well with me. Mm-hmm. And I just, you know, all these people are telling me all these things. I find this surgeon and he's like, yeah, I think you need to have your gallbladder removed. So I had to go through a bunch of different tests. And so yet again, yeah, I ended up in the hospital having my gallbladder removed a couple months later. And it was really a tough recovery process. Because also, in addition to, like, even though I was living with my fiance, what I really wanted at that time was, like, my mom.
Yeah.
I wanted to be with my family. But during COVID, you know, people weren't flying anywhere. It wasn't safe, and especially in New York City. So I really felt alone during that time. And it was a lot where I sort of had to lean into books and other people's stories online so that I didn't feel so alone.
Mm-hmm. So then you've learned to advocate for your health, so you're doing better for yourself as far as your health goes, and then you start thinking about your job. Your job is you're working remotely, so your boss can't see that you're working, 12, 14, 16 hours a day because you're just sitting in your own apartment. People are quitting, and they're giving you their responsibilities without the pay raise, without the title change, and so was kind of some of your medical, trauma triggering your thinking that, like, hey, maybe I need to also take care of myself in other aspects of my life too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think when I was coming out of anesthesia after the gallbladder surgery, I made a promise to myself that once I was out of the hospital, I was going to start living for myself and my happiness, because life is just too short. It can be taken from us so quickly. And there's no reason we should be settling or unhappy, whether it's the job or the relationship. So yeah, that definitely opened my eyes to see that, oh, there's a lot of things I need to change in order to live my life on my terms and what's going to make me happy, and not necessarily what society says is going to make me happy.
Mm-hmm. Right. So it's definitely one of those things that you sometimes have to take that leap of faith, not knowing what's on the other side of the jump, where you're going to land. And I think that's what I heard a lot in this book is, we're just going to go for it. And so,
yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I kind of joke with people. I feel like I just kept jumping. I didn't have a parachute, but I knew for me, I didn't want to be in the same place, 1 year, 5 years, 50 years down the line, right where I was. And I knew the only way to do that was to let go of all that fear and just find the courage within myself to go take that leap of faith and find what was actually going to make me happy.
Absolutely. And so I think in that same vein, even publishing a book, and you went about it in a non-traditional manner. Everybody thinks they need the agent and they need the publisher and they need the marketing and things like that. And you were like, nope, I'm going to self-publish. So what was that experience like?
Yeah, I think self-publishing is the future. Traditional publishing, while it is really prestigious, I honestly believe that so many of us as women think that we need the agent, we need the publisher to be considered an author. But by self-publishing, we are putting our stories out there. We're taking back our power, and we're able to share these things that, just because we don't have 1 million followers on Instagram doesn't mean that we're not authors. Mm-hmm. And for me, this is something I've been really advocating with. I think women, we need to be getting our stories out there and sharing them with each other just to show that we're not alone. And we're all kind of going through these crazy things. But with my book, I really hope that everybody can kind of see a piece of themselves in my story and that they can find the courage within themselves to let go of that fear and just choose themselves. And me, self-publishing, was choosing myself and not waiting for other people to choose me.
Oh, I love that.
Took the words out of my mouth, Nicole.
It really is so beautiful. And it's so wonderful to see, that you can have catastrophe after one right after another and still land in happiness. And so you're doing well now. You're living in Pittsburgh. You're getting to celebrate the Steelers, which, okay, that's fine.
Sorry, I'm a Browns fan.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, hey, I don't know if I can say this here, but at least you're not a Ravens fan, right?
Oh, yeah. No, the Ravens are the worst.
We can unite on that.
So you're doing really, really well. I want to give you a moment to do a quick plug. I know that you can check out the book. The book is on order, and you can order it and you can check it out from the Delaware County District Library very soon. But where else can people get your book, and how else can they get in contact with you?
Yeah, of course. I have my own website, notestosouthshop.com, and there you can pick up the book along with a bunch of other things I have for sale. I have some guided journals, notebooks, wall art. And it's all meant to be an inspiring, motivational thing that anyone can really pick up and get. So in addition to that, I also have my Instagram, which is at Notes to Self Shop. There we have an incredible community of women where it's all about you've got this and we've got each other. And every day I'm writing inspiring quotes and notes to self that I am feeling every single day, just trying to empower the world.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, I am so happy. You're going to take over the world. You're going to go on a book tour soon. And I'm very excited to see where that continues to take you. But yeah, this has been such a great opportunity to interview you and hear a little bit about your story. I hope everybody goes and picks up the book. And that takes us right to our time. So Amber, thank you for joining us by phone today. We hope to see you in person at some point.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This has been amazing, girls.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Hannah, thanks for
Amber.
being my co-host last minute this morning.
Love to be here.
And Gage, as always, thank you for running the board. And thank you to our sponsors, Mosher's Market and Helpline. Until next week, we will see you in the stacks.
Thanks for listening to Off the Shelf, sponsored by Helpline of Delaware and Morrow County, and by Beanbag Books. Join us again next Friday morning at 9 o'clock, right here on My 96.7.